So, population interactions. What is interaction? What is population? Group of animals which are belongs to the same species, we can say population. So, we are talking about the different kinds of populations, how they interact each other, how they are going to interact each other. That we are talking about here. So, when it comes here, the population interactions, can you think of any natural habitat on the earth that is inhabited just by a single species? Is there anything like that? Having only one species is present, where there is no other species? No, we can't say like that because interactions are very common in the particular ecosystem. So there is no such habitat, and such a situation is unimaginable. For any species, the minimal requirement is one or more species on which it can feed. That means for tiger, at least a deer required over. So that means a single population cannot be exist over. Even a plant species which makes its own food cannot survive alone because it needs some soil microbes. Do you remember that nitrogenous bacteria association with that groundnut plant, Arachis hypothea? So that we can understand that the interactions are very common in between the organisms. No organism can survive individually and independently. No organism can survive individually and independently. So, population interaction, that we are talking about interspecific interaction. That means interaction between the two different species, we can say interspecific interaction. So many interactions can be seen over that we are going to take a look on this particular chapter here. Then, how will the plant manage pollination without an animal agent? Their interaction is there. That might lend over ornithophily, that means with the help of birds, pollination. Likewise, interaction is very common aspect. So it is obvious that in nature, animal, plants, and microbe do not and cannot live in isolation, but interact in various ways to form a biological community. Even in minimal communities, may interactive linkages exist. How smaller ecosystem that is, no matter, definitely interactions can be seen over. Although all may not be readily visible, but definitely there is a presence. So let us talk about the interactions, interspecific interaction. Our topic here, interspecific interactions between the two different species, interactions between the two different species, we can say interspecific interactions. Okay. Interspecific interactions arise from the interaction of the populations of two different species. Maybe that interaction sometimes beneficial, sometimes detrimental or neutral, neither harmful nor beneficial. We can say that detrimental to one of the species or both. Sometimes both may get benefit over. So that is shown in the form of symbols like this. If any in these interactions, if organism getting benefited over, we can show like this plus. If organism is affected, the symbol is shown over minus. If neither benefited nor affected, we can show the symbol 0. Okay, so with these symbols, let us try to understand the interactions between the organisms. For example, if it comes to the mutualism, there in the name, mutualism, in the two species who are interacting each other here can be shown with this symbol. What is this? The both the species benefit here. In the two species, we are interacting each other here. Both species are getting benefit. Okay, we'll go with examples also in the series, but let us talk once. Competition. When competition occurs, that it may happen like this, means both may get affected each other, both one affect the another. So both are, it is going to be disadvantageous here. Competition, don't use more logics here because whatever there in text we have to go for, because this area is has multi-dimensional. So sometimes sir, if it happen like that options will come over, no options at all. Competition sometimes different results it may give. In text it was given one of the angle, the competition is given over. Moving that predator and prey mechanism, predation, we can say tiger is a predator, deer is a prey. So in that one is getting benefited and other is affected over. When it moves to the parasitism, in case of parasitism, we know the relationship between the human and parasite. We are learned so many parasites. There also you can see one is benefited, parasite, and other is affected, that is host. So parasitism is also an interspecific competition, interspecific interaction. We can see commensalism here. Whenever the two individuals are living together, there may be a possibility that one is getting benefited and other is neither benefited nor affected. So we can say such kind of interaction as commensalism. Here in this chapter, what we are going to see, I am giving a brief first of all. Okay. So then after we'll discuss each other. Some of them we have the full length discussion. Amensalism, we have one more. Amensalism, in this kind of association, minus zero, the symbol means that two individuals who are living together, one is affected, other is neither benefited nor affected. Okay. So these are the primary interactions which are there in the nature. We can say, let's take a look on them back again. Interspecific interactions, which we are showing symbols like one the plus, benefit, minus, effect, zero, neither benefit nor effect. Coming to the mutualism, both are getting benefited over. That in the comment, the competition, one that both are affected over, minus, minus. Predation, one is benefited, which is called predator, and other is affected, that is called prey. And parasitism, one is benefited, that is parasite, and other is affected, who is called host. Commensalism, one is benefited, that is commensal, and other is neither benefited nor affected, that is called host. Amensalism, one is affected here, but another is not going to be neither benefited nor affected. So let us take all of them in detail now. These are the interspecific interactions. In brief, we can see interactions between the species are grouped into 6 types. What we said, they are mutualism, commensalism, parasitism, and amensalism. That here the both the species benefit in mutualism. Mutualism, let's take a look on that. Both the species are getting benefited in mutualism, and both lose in competition. Both lose in competition in their interactions with each other. The interaction where one species is benefited and other is neither benefited nor harmed. But what do you say that as commensalism? That is said to be commensalism. In that one is benefited and other is neither benefited nor affected. In case of amensalism, the other hand, one species is harmed whereas other is unaffected. One species is harmed and other is neither benefited nor affected. Okay. So next, in both parasitism and predation, when you observe them, when both predation and parasitism, that only one species get the benefit, whereas in predation, benefited is predator, in parasite, benefited is parasite, and other is affected. That is, in predation, prey is the affected one. In parasitism, that host is the affected one. We have to discuss all of them in detail, but parasitism we know very well, isn't it? So then the interaction is detrimental to the other species, host and prey, respectively. Then predation, parasitism, commensalism share a common characteristic that interacting species live closely together. In case of predation and parasitism, in predation and parasitism, they are living together. That and one more commensalism, they are living together. That mostly when it comes parasitism and commensalism, they are much closer because our parasite means Plasmodium vivax live itself in the body. So that we can say commensal is also like that. Let's take one after another that we'll get. This is just introduction, which we are moving here. Then from predation onwards, let's talk about from predation onwards. That issues from predation onwards we have to discuss now. Let's talk about the predation first of all. Predation. Okay. So when it comes to the predation, what would happen to all the energy fixed by autotrophic organisms if the community has no animals to eat the plants? Means only plants are there, they are preparing, and there is no one is going to eat the plant. What happens? You can consider predation as a nature's way of transferring the energy fixed by the plants to higher trophic level. So what I am saying here, predation is good. Okay, imagine all the plants are growing, 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 and no one is coming is to eat, no any predator. Who is the predator for plant? Herbivore. Yeah, in other context we can say, you may say it as a vegetarian, herbivore, a goat or a deer. A soft corner will come to you when we say, isn't it? Then when a herbivore deer is eaten by tiger, immediately we say that is a cruel thing. But generally I'm saying here. So that means when a tiger hunts the deer, people see that how cruel it is. But when a herbivore hunts the plant, why don't you say that? It is also an organism, isn't it? When a deer is eating a plant, that is also an attack. Which one you feel so much cruel thing? Just asking here. Which one you feel so much cruel thing? A tiger attacking the deer, hunting and attacking, killing the deer. A deer attacking a plant. Which one is? Both are predation, no doubt. This is predation, and this is also predation. So, what do you think? So, which one is more cruel thing? Yes, anyone? Which is the cruel thing here? A deer eating
Nothing is
plant.
cruel, sir.
Huh?
Both are not cruel, sir.
Both are not cruel. Very good. That is what content actually. That's what we are talking. What I said in introduction, what I said now only, that you can consider predation as a nature's way of transferring the energy fixed by the plants to the higher trophic level. Energy is fixed by plants. From there to the herbivore, from there to the carnivore, they have to go means that definitely. So in my context, I have my opinion. In my context, a deer is eating plant is more cruel because at least a deer is having a possibility can run, isn't it? But a plant can't run. That will stay there. Deer cruelly attacking the plant. That is my context. That what you can say. That even text supports that particular things. That when we think of predator and prey, most probably it is a tiger and the deer that readily come to the mind, isn't it? But a sparrow eating any seed, you don't feel it as a cruel, and we say we don't consider it as a predation. But a sparrow eating seed is also a type of predation. We call a seed eating predator, granivore. We can say granivore because that is eating the grains, granivore, we can say. So, although animals eating plants are categorized separately as herbivores, they are in a broad ecological context, not very different from predator. Listen carefully. Is there any vegetarians are there? Listen carefully. You are eating grains. Okay, I'm eating grains. I'm pure herbivorous nature. I'm very soft. Those who are thinking like so, what we are saying, you people also predators. No doubt about that. No doubt about that. This is a general information about the predation. Okay. So, any doubts regarding this? Any doubts? Okay, so now let's I'm shifting to the content here. Here, actually, the predation, in population interactions, the predation, parasite, prey, is some lengthier information than with a lot of examples is present. So, what I made here, a notes which are helpful for us to understand by looking towards some illustrations, some mind maps. By looking towards the mind maps, that you can understand clearly. So, and some properties of the predation we are talking about. Now, we just gave a brief of the predation. What we said, there is a predator and there is a prey, and plant eating also a kind of predation, and that prey is plant, and deer or a bird, whatever it is, eating the plant, that is also going to be a predator, we said, in a broad ecological context. Now, some properties. Why predator is good? That means supporting the predator, we have some statements here. So do remember a heading and example. Heading and example. Predator as biological control agent. We are now talking about predator as biological control agent. We are saying What is biological control agent? Means here we are saying that if there is no predator, some particular prey will grow in number. For example, frog is eaten by snakes. Snake is eaten by hawk. Imagine there is no hawk, snake population increases. If there is no frog, there is no snake, frog population will increase. In that way, what these predators are doing? They are controlling the population. Do you accept this? They are controlling the population. So that we have a live example to say this, which was happened, a real incident. The prickly pear cactus introduced into the Australia. You just please understand the illustration I given based on the text context. Prickly pear the cactus is introduced into the Australia in 1920s, caused havoc by spreading rapidly into millions of hectares of range land. The vast natural grasslands is spread it over, because prickly pear cactus is not the native of Australia. So that it was introduced into the Australia by someone. Okay. So there is no natural predator. That's why well spreaded over in Australia in 1920s, which was happened there at the time. The millions of hectares of range land, this is spreaded over. Then how did they control? There is no natural predator in Australia. But this is not the native plant. That's why there is no natural predator. So how was it controlled? After that, Australian the prickly pear cactus is controlled by introducing their predator also. Someone introduced the cactus, and we are introducing their cactus feeding predator moth. That after all, introducing the cactus feeding predator moth, a moth it is, cactus feeding predator was introduced into the country, then it makes the control of the population of this prickly pear cactus. So what we can say here, according to this, predator as a biological control agent. If there is no predator, what happens? The prey population will increase over. So this is one of the best example. Let me say once again, the prickly pear cactus introduced into the Australia in early 1920s caused havoc by spreading rapidly into the millions of hectares of rangeland, the vast natural grasslands. It was spreaded over. Finally, the invasive cactus was brought under control only after by a cactus feeding predator, a moth, was introduced into the country. The biological control methods adapted in agricultural pest controls are based on the ability of the So what we are saying, the biological control methods adapted in agricultural pest control are based on the ability of the predators to regulate prey population. Okay. So this, as we say, predator as biological control agent. Okay, next, the second one. Predator maintains species diversity. These kind of things people say, sir, I didn't understand what you are saying. That, yeah, that generally will come when the student says after the completion, when they start reading the textbooks, are what you are saying, I didn't understand. You say once again, do you know why they ask like that? They don't believe this actually. They don't believe. That means from here onwards, predator maintains species diversity. Predator pertaining to the prey, or predators are prudent, that with due respect to the prey. These two, three are unbelievable things which they feel so. That's why the unbelievable things means here already they have an opinion. That's why they say that, sir, you are saying what you are saying, I didn't understand. What I am saying here, what is there in text only, and which are live examples. These are okay. Now let us see what it is actually. Predator maintains species diversity. We are saying okay, means in the rocky intertidal communities, of American Pacific coast. So in what way we are saying predators also help in maintaining the species diversity in community by reducing the intensity of the competition. How? Let us see here. Example. After that, we'll go for in the rocky intertidal communities of the American Pacific coast, the starfish, there is a starfish called pisaster. The scientific name of the starfish is pisaster. The pisaster, there is a starfish. Okay. What is starfish? Is a predator. Okay. He is an important predator. In a field experiment, when all the starfishes are removed experimentally from that area. So who are the prey? That some 10 species of invertebrates are prey for this particular starfish. Okay. So what do you think so when this particular predator is removed? What do you think so? So what you think against it is what happening here. What we think, if predator is removed, prey population will increase. That only we said earlier. But here, what happened? 10 species of invertebrates are extincted. 10 species of invertebrates are extincted. Why? Because they fight each other, because of interspecific competition. No leader, all preys or fight each other and they get extincted over. So that means we proved here. What we proved? That predator help in maintaining the species diversity in a community by reducing the intensity of the competition among competing prey species. Means teacher also you look as a predator, isn't it? But if there is no teacher, what happens? The children itself, they fight each other. That is just similar like we are talking about. So predator maintains species diversity. Example, the rocky intertidal communities of the American Pacific coast, Pisaster starfish, that which is an important predator, which it is removed experimentally, and 10 species of invertebrate species, Pisaster is the scientific name of this. The 10 species of that invertebrates are getting extincted over because of interspecific competition. Because of interspecific competition. Okay. Just next, the predators are prudent. Practical means here, the practical thinking, we use it to say generally, isn't it? How can we say? If predator eats all prey at once, over exploitation, we use it to say, we said already in biodiversity. If predator eats all the prey, if predator eats all the prey, what happens? Tomorrow there is no food for predator, isn't it? Then tomorrow predator also become extinct. That means there are 10 deers are there. Tiger today came and killed all the 10 deers today itself. Tomorrow they have food for tomorrow? No, tiger today deers are extincted. Tomorrow tigers will also going for extinction. So that's why predator don't do like that. They kill the animal only for food. Predators are prudent. We are saying practical with respect to prey, pertaining to prey. If predator eats all prey or exploitation, predator also become extinct. Okay, so what we are saying, if a predator is too efficient and over exploits its prey, then the prey might become extinct following it. The predator will also become extinct due to lack of food. So that is the reason why predators in nature are prudent. Prudent means practical, wise, intelligent in that way. They know that if we kill all the prey, we also die the next day. Okay. So that is all about the predation. That there are three issues. Predator as a biological control agent. Predator maintains species diversity. Predators are prudent, are practical pertaining to prey. Okay. So any doubts here during with respect to the predation? Now here, yes, any doubts? The prey angle. That means from prey side. Prey also should protect from predator. To protect from the predator, what prey is doing, that we need to know. The prey fool or deceive or avoid their predators. So always prey will try to escape from the predator. How? That camouflage, that cryptical coloration. Some insects and frogs, we can see the camouflage or cryptical coloration, we can see here. Camouflage. That on the tree there is a frog, almost the color is similarly to the surrounding environment. Here also, the camouflaged frog. So where the level where it is, that means camouflage means immediately that chameleon will come into the mind of people. Now I am showing here the frog's camouflage on the Greenland, like on the rock, it look like rock, modified their color. Okay, so but it doesn't change color accordingly. Where it is living, these are different kinds of frogs we are talking about. Where they are living, they get adapted. where they are living. That means here, if you drop this frog on the water again, it changes the green color. We are not going to say like that. So where the respective place, habitat where they are living, so to protect from the predator. Have you seen this? Almost doesn't look like, means here matching with the background, trying to escape from the predator. So these are all the different kinds of frags which are showing that the camouflage condition, the camouflage condition. So can you locate a frog here? So almost in the background, with the background, it was set down. So this is what we can say, camouflage. The condition we can say camouflage. Camouflage in insects. Amazing insect, almost look like flower. You see this? And this is insect actually, like a leaf it is. Okay, like a leaf. And this is also insect. That means just merging in the leaves, look like an insect. So in the grass, that dried the grass color it has. So this is also an insect. This one, very interesting, isn't it? So various kinds of insects. They look like leaf, that is to escape from the predators. So this is most of the times you can see in our these kind of insects you can see. Here you see some more interesting things. All these are camouflaged insects. So camouflage means a kind of adaptation of the prey, which we can say, which to escape from the predator, to escape from the predator, that camouflage is going to be helpful for the organisms. Camouflage is going to be helpful for organisms. Okay. So what we said, the prey, fool, deceive, or avoid their predators. That means one of them is camouflage, cryptically colored. Like some insects and frogs are cryptically colored that we are seeing now. Next, poisonous. The monarch butterfly, the is one of them poisonous butterfly. Just I made it accommodated here. Monarch butterfly as an example. Monarch butterfly is a poisonous butterfly. During larval stages itself, it eats the poisonous weeds, and eating the poisonous weeds make them to be, the wings are going to be poisonous. That's why no predator like to eat that particular monarch butterfly like that. Okay. Next, the second one. Preys defend by becoming distasteful to the predator, which we just talked about now. The monarch butterfly is distasteful because of a chemical, which is a special chemical in its body, which acquired by the during caterpillar stage by eating a poisonous weed. The distasteful, little poisonous, it become the wings. Here, no predator will likely to eat that particular. Okay, next, plants too have their defensive mechanism. Actually, we said plants are very weak. As earlier I said, over a deer at least can run, but do a plant will run? No. But some of the plants are little intelligent. They are trying to escape from their predator. Like plant eating, we can say phytophagous. Nearly 25% of insects depends on the plants only. So that's why plants are also paid effort here. All efforts not to be eaten by herbivores. What do you call them as? Defensive mechanism. Okay. So thorns, you know that acacia, cactus are having thorns. Why? Not to eaten by predators. And store chemicals like the make which if the chemicals are eaten, that chemicals containing plant leaf is eaten over, the animal becomes sick. Means here, for example, leave human is more intelligent. A coffee plant or a particular tea plant like Papaver somniferum, cannabis sativa, which we said over some of the drugs we said. Then, if do any animal in the animal kingdom dare to eat the leaves of Papaver somniferum, cannabis sativa, Erythroxylum coca? Do they dare? No. Why? Because if they eat, if the animal lose consciousness, they will be confused over. Human is so intelligent, they are using it as a drugs that we discussed in the earlier classes, opioid, cannabinoid. But that is also a kind of defense mechanism, the caffeine. But human with intelligence, that also he made it available to him. Okay. So then at least cardiac glycoside, calotropis plant. Do you know the calotropis? No grazing animal will be surrounded area of calotropis. No grazing animal will likely to be stay there. Why? Why? Because that contain a chemical called cardiac glycoside. This is the question, very important. Calotropis having cardiac glycosides, no grazing at all. So nicotine, caffeine, quinine, strychnine, opium, whatever that particular the sedatives we said earlier, the tranquilizers we said earlier, all they are actually a wide variety of chemical substances are actually that produced by them as a defenses against the grazers and browsers, but a new that danger came to them. That danger name is human being. That's it. That is about the history of predation. As we are seeing, predator as a biological control agent, predator maintains species diversity. Predators are prudent, practical, pertaining to prey. And from the prey angle, the prey fool or deceive or avoid their predator. Preys defend by becoming distasteful to predator and plans to have defense mechanism. This is a total story of predation. Okay. Any doubts here during this regarding this predation?